One eternity later.
Hello exiles, and in the end I'm here with the complete guide for the new version of Armour stacking. It doesn't use introspection jewels, it has no voices jewels, and it's completely cheap in some kinds of versions such as YOLO one, which I'll attach in the comments. Today there will be 4 POBs. 3 actual ones, 1 theory crafting for Berserker. There is a possibility to make this build around Chaos Inoculation to make it even more tanky with Chaos Immunity. So let's see it in the order. This POB, the first one, is the YOLO version that is used for this footage. It has some not very expensive gear, and it's not elemental ailment immune. That's why we face some problems with ignite and some other shocks or maybe brittle sap effects when we take a lot of critical strikes. Some of the hit mechanics, especially ignites, are not affected by the hit for some mobs, because when we face tank with 1 million armor, we don't get some powerful ignites. We shouldn't get, but we get them, and that's why we need to be protected from ignites or maybe some powerful poisons. I can recommend this version. It's still good for any casual player who doesn't want to pay too much for the build, but I'll advise you to use the Purity of Elements with Strangle Clasp or without. What about the downsides? You can see them all here. During the gameplay I faced 3 major problems. Dot, especially ignite, which I solved by implementing Purity of Elements into the build, because in the version that you see here during the gameplay is YOLO version POB. We don't have chaos resistant capped, we are not elemental ailments immune, and there is no protection against dot except our leech, and our leech is not that hard. That's why, as you've seen in the footage, we have powerful hits from causes, and they are pure physical. There wasn't any chaos extra damage on modifiers on that layer of delirium. That's why I made a decision to fully convert our physical damage taken as elemental. So let's cut through this build. We're using Slayer, Impact for some accuracy, melee damage, and area of effect for our elemental hit explosions. We use Masterful Form to benefit from our Aunt's Anguish belt. I'll tell about this later. And we want to take reduced damage and to be stun and bleeding immune, to have additional leech while mapping. it's armor stacking without any introspection jewels, and we have 900k armor. How do we do this? We use only 4 auras. We use determination, grace, purity of elements, and defiance banner, which is free for our mana reservation because we use forbidden flesh and flame for inspirational. They're extremely cheap. They are even less than 1 divine for a piece, and they give us free banner skill reservation and 30% increase effect of non-curse auras. The concept is, as in other armor stacking builds, we convert our evasion through iron reflexes into armor and get increased armor and evasion nodes on the tree. And the main thing I've implemented here is Strangle Clasp Amulet that gives us the opportunity to have 4 anointments. It's not mandatory unique. You can use just a rare amulet with 1 anointment, but I managed to get it. We hit here the champion of the cause, sovereignty, influence, and frenetic. It's also a Transcendence build, and we have 100% physical damage taken as elemental. That's why we are completely immune to physical and elemental hits. It's hardly impossible to hit through such amount of armor if we are not shocked. For damage boost, we use precise technique, and we must follow the rule that our accuracy rating must be more than our total life. So if there is something wrong with it, just lower your life pool. We have too much defenses, and we do not need too much life. 3k will be enough. Some notes on the tree for leech, for some frenzy charges and flask effects. Here we get lots of devotion for our Transcendence, Militant Faith Jewel. We use Supreme Ego also to boost our determination and grace. To fit with mana reservation, we use some mana reservation efficiency nodes for grace and determination. And what's for the items? Standard replica Dream Feathers, dual wielding, lightning coil because of 50% of physical damage from hits taken as lightning. I managed to have it with +2 of socketed projectile gems, and now with the beyond revoke, when it becomes scorch, we easily can get the sockets that we need with tainted chromatics, tainted fusings, and etc. And it gives us +2 to our elemental heat. Hands of the High Templar is great for this build because we have free +3 to our auras. We upon our budget can have +4 and +1 to maximum frenzy charge with synergies with Arn's Anguish and Slayer's Masterful Form. So we have 10 frenzy and 10 brutal charges with 30% chance to deal double damage, and Arn's Anguish is extremely cheap with corruption for grace and gives us lots of damage. See that it's just 1/3 of our damage. Dark Ray Vector's revoked item, now it's even better than it was, with damage penetrates, elemental resistances, enchantment. It gives us a free frenzy charge, lots of movement speed and evasion rating per frenzy charge. For the rings, we just need to cover all our needs with stats, accuracy, and resistances, and one ring with elemental weakness on heat. If you manage to get hands of the High Templar with this, you'll free one modifier, and you can have even cheaper ring for this. We also need non-channeling skills have -2 mana cost to cover all mana costs of our skills, or use life tap not only on elemental heat. That's why you can get rid of these crafting bench enchantments if you use life tap on all your skills, and it's just lip slam and dual totems. Flasks are basic: granite, basalt, stibnite, and jade flasks for increased evasion, increased attack speed, and increased armor during flask effect. And Taste of Hate for physical, taken as cold. Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame for taking the inspirational from the champion. Conqueror's Potency with Corrupted Blood, or one jewel with Corrupted Blood, what you manage to have. Jewel you need with life, attack speed, maybe accuracy. Increased armor if you haven't killed recently is good too. And one small cluster jewel to generate our brutal charges. It's Enduring Composure. We always have our maximum brutal charges, and just free intelligence or whatever you're lacking. For the skills, we have Determination, Grace, Purity of Elements with Enlighten. If you get Enlighten level 4, it's even better, but I tend to make the POBs that are equivalent to the budget, so it's not very expensive. Molten Shell with increased duration, Elemental Heat with multi-strike, elemental damage with attacks, Trinity, close combat, life tap. For mapping, we use Awakened Ancestral Call. Maybe we just change it for close combat or elemental damage with attacks. It's up to you how you can configure. There are too many variants. Blood Rage, and this is the point. You can get Anomalous Blood Rage and not to use these nodes. So I managed to craft the Blood Rage with 2 lenses, so I have Anomalous. But if you don't want to pay, I think, 16 divines for this gem, you can just use the usual Blood Rage. And to get these 3 nodes, Sword Mastery with chance to gain Frenzy Charge, and Elemental Weakness on the ring, Defiance Banner, Lip Slam with faster attacks, and Current Strike, Endurance Charge on melee stun. You can switch it for life tap. And with the extremely cheap version, without the Strangle Clasp, we have our basic amulet +1 to level of fire, cold, or lightning skill gems. And instead of our Anomalous Blood Rage, we have these 4 nodes. It's very expensive to waste 4 nodes that do not give us damage. As you can see, it gives us less than 100k DPS, but it's all about your budget. If you get Anomalous Blood Rage, just get rid of these 4 and get some other nodes you want. And for theory crafting the Berserker version using the Juggernaut's Unbreakable, I think it's the best variant that could have been. But be careful, I didn't test it, and it uses the traitor. It's without Transcendence, but you are always up on your flasks, and you do not need to recover charges, they recover themselves. And for that reason, like, subscribe, leave your comments in the commentary section. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.